Hello and welcome to the Unnamed Automotive Podcast. My name is Sami Hajjasad, and with me, as always, is my good friend and fellow automotive journalist, Benjamin Hunting. Say hi to the people, Ben.
Greetings, human listeners.
Greetings to everyone. If this is the first time you're listening to our show, thank you for trying something new. I really appreciate it, and I think Ben does too. Is that right, Ben?
Who can know my mind?
Ben's work can be found all over the internet. In fact, you can find his work at these publications. Ben, take it away.
Let's go with Haggerty, Motor Trend, and Driving.ca.
And you can find my work at driving.ca and autotrader.ca, as well as driving.ca's YouTube channel. Ben,
what's that called? What's that called?
Driving.ca.
Okay.
But you have to write the word dot. So it's driving, DOT, CA.
Was comma CA taken?
I guess so.
Unfortunate. These squatters, these YouTube squatters.
You think that I wonder, there should be something to be, there's too many numbers and symbols when it comes to the internet now, right?
What do you mean now? You're saying there's more now than there used to be in the past?
Yeah, because you used to be able to you could just go SamiHajjasad.com, and now that's been taken, and now I have to make SamiHajjasad1.com and SamiHajjasad2.com. The real
Sami Hajjasad 1!1.com.
Yeah. The real Sami Hajjasad, the real Sami Hajjasad.
I just go to SamiHajjasad.biz. I had thought that was legit, but
don't do that one. I don't get any of the biz.
It sounds like I've been taken.
And if you go to SamiHajjasad.gov, don't give that one any of your personal information.
That's the British one, right? .gov.
.gov.uk.
.gov.mum.
Speaking of .gov, we've got some pretty cool cars to talk about this week. I'm really eager to hear your thoughts because you gave it a really good teaser last week about the 2026, is it 26?
Yes.
Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, or PHEV, or PHEV, or PHEV. Is the way that some people
I'm surprised
say.
You're excited about this because traditionally you've hated this vehicle.
No, I've always been excited about this. I've always been turned down. I've always been disappointed by it because in so many ways, it just feels like a slightly worse Nissan Rogue, right?
Well, prepare to have your mind blown because Mitsubishi, while it does still share
how should I prepare? Should I hold my head, my brain, or my mind inside my head?
You've completely broken my train of thought, so you can do whatever you want to do. While the Outlander does share its platform with the Rogue, the Nissan Rogue, for the plug-in version, apparently that's only happening for one model year. Were you aware of that?
The Nissan plug-in hybrid?
Yes, the plug-in hybrid version of the Rogue is a single model year vehicle. And
what do you think that's all about?
I think that Mitsubishi is wanting some distance from its forced roommate. We can
talk about that later on because they're doing some weird stuff too.
So this vehicle has been given a pretty thorough refresh. The Outlander is
more importantly, I think the most important thing is that it got a bigger battery, right?
I'm going to go through the things that I think are important.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to contribute, you can. Sure. But so the refresh is interesting because for me, this vehicle has always kind of been, it ran for a very long time, right? Like this is I can't even remember when the Outlander came out. I remember the first time I drove a plug-in Outlander, it just felt like they had jury rigged a decent drivetrain into a crossover SUV that felt like it was 5 years old the day it was released. It was something that I think sold very much on price and on the fact that people were able to get discounts from maybe their registration or tax breaks because they could get a plug-in. And the plug-in aspect was legit. It actually did all the stuff it was supposed to do, but everything that was wrapped around it felt kind of jury rigged together or from a different era. That is long in the rear view. I have not driven an Outlander plug-in in a while. I drove the gas one last summer and I remember liking it. And I remember you being blown away by the fact that I liked it. I
was caught off guard. Did you drive a range topping model or a non-range topping model?
I don't remember. Because there's so many different trims, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's one of the few automakers that seem to have like 50 trims for one model.
So when I came to this vehicle, I was really curious to see. I mean, first they wanted to bring. I think a lot of what is new on the PHEV had already happened for the gas model, and they were bringing it up to spec. As you mentioned, the biggest difference, I guess, mechanically, is the larger battery. But the larger battery isn't the whole story, because the larger battery makes a bunch of things happen. First, and I guess most importantly for them in terms of advertising, you get more range from the larger battery. Let me double check the number. I believe it's 78 kilometers in Canada, right? That's around
very nice
there.
Number.
And the range in miles is 45 miles, which is 7 miles more than it used to be. 7 miles doesn't sound like a lot, but I think that's an increase of like almost 20%. Okay. So that's a decent number. But the other aspect of the range is not just the bigger battery. It's 22.7 kilowatt hours. The cooling for the battery has been dramatically updated as well. And that means that the system can put out more horsepower. It's almost 300 horsepower now. It's 297. That's
very nice. Yeah.
And there's something that you got to understand. And honestly, for me, it's tough to figure out. The Outlander PHEV, in terms of how its drivetrain works, it doesn't. Pretty much everything routes through the battery through the electric motors. So
this feels like one of those like extended range electric vehicles then? Like
yes and no, because they can also operate as a series hybrid or a parallel hybrid. Okay. So like in this vehicle, you can drive it along just using the electric motors with no gas engine running, nothing at all. And you get your 78 kilometers of range, right? Mm-hmm. You can also drive it with the gas engine running to charge the battery to feed the motors, which is how it drives in hybrid mode at lower speeds. So if your battery is depleted, the gas engine comes on, but the gas engine is not moving the vehicle when you're driving around town. On the highway at higher speeds, there is a clutch and a single speed transaxle that will attach the engine to the front wheels, because Mitsubishi's determined that is the most efficient way for them to run the gas motor in those situations. So that's complicated. Like that is a lot going on. The reason I'm bringing it up is because you don't sense any of this happening.
No way.
There is like zero clunkiness about how this drivetrain manages itself. There's no weird feeling. There's no like strange noises. There's no lurching. The closest I ever came to like catching the vehicle in the act, so to speak, would be the times where it was sitting at idle, and if the AC was on cranked or something, or if I changed to drive mode, like it has some performance
something weird
drive modes.
Happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it turns the engine on. And then I would notice. Yeah. But other than that, it's really impressive. And that range is real world range. I beat it by 4 miles with a sizable
wild.
Yeah, with a sizable amount of highway driving too.
That's so weird. Okay, I want to talk to you about a few things. First of all, I think this 72 kilometers of range puts it really high up there on the ranking of 2026 model year plug-in hybrids. I think the new RAV4 EV or plug-in hybrid can get up to 89 kilometers. I can't do all the math for the miles per gallon right now, but
which model? Sorry,
the RAV4 plug-in hybrid.
Which is, I believe, similarly priced.
Yeah, and I think this thing gets as much range as like a Prius plug-in, which as well gets 72 kilometers on a full charge, depending on the trim level. Now, yes.
No, go on. I was going to add some more stuff about the plug-in.
The very strange thing about the Outlander is that its efficiency when not having any battery charge really changes things. The fuel mileage for the gas engine is not very, attractively rated.
I got 33 miles per gallon.
I'm saying, that's it's
with the battery completely empty.
That's wild.
That's really good, and
that's significant. That's 6 miles per gallon better than the official rating.
Yeah, so and
what is going on?
It's rated at 27 miles per gallon. And also, like, let's say you're on a long trip where you do most of the driving. So I I had a 130 kilometer trip where I did 78 kilometers on battery and then the rest of it on gas. And I got 101 miles per gallon on that trip.
That's
so like,
nice.
It's pretty nutty.
Yeah, I love the good MPGe number. Always makes me feel, or the miles per gallon equivalent number, like combined. It's a great figure, right?
Well, the MPGe number for this vehicle is 73.
Okay. I'm just wanted to be upfront that the ratings for the gas engine are not very strong. So you're obviously doing something right when you're driving without any charge in the battery.
I'm not doing anything special. Like, honestly, I drive the same test loop for every vehicle.
You have mentioned that, but you've also gotten over the last few cars, you've gotten higher than the average or the expected rating. So
yes and no. I had a Trax that was worse.
Okay.
So like, it's not always higher. It just seems that way. The vehicle's also weird in the sense that you can plug it into level 1, level 2, and DC fast charging, which is the ultimate flex if you are wanting to really piss off an EV owner, is to take your plug-in hybrid to a fast charger and take up that spot when they actually need it and you don't. Because you could just drive on home. You know? So I didn't do any of that. On a level 2,
it also must be kind of expensive to DC fast charge a plug-in, like unnecessarily expensive compared to filling it up, right?
Yeah, I don't see the point of that. It's really just a party trick. I'm sure it's something that helps them with their advertising. The level 2 charge took me 6.5 hours to fill the battery, which is fine.
Okay. Isn't one of the other party tricks that the Mitsubishi Outlander has a third row?
Yeah, we'll get to that eventually.
Not now.
Well, we're still talking about what's new, and the third row.
Okay.
The other new aspects of it, there's some styling differences. You're not going to notice them. It looks very similar, but it's got some bumper tweaks and some lighting tweaks and all that stuff. The biggest change is inside. I had in Canada, it's called the GT Premium, and it had like this brick brown leather. In the States, it's called SEL with the SEL. I think it's the premium package. Brick brown leather, a whole bunch of gear. It looks great. It looks fantastic. It's a really, really nice interior. I was surprised by how much I liked it. The infotainment screen, it's big enough. It's easy to use. The gauge cluster is very well designed. All the menus make sense. There's not like, I've complained a lot in the past about how Toyota has all these menus on the gauge cluster screen, and they're filled with all these abbreviations because it's like a really small space. And you don't know what it means, especially for like safety features. Mitsubishi doesn't do that. All their menus are easy to read. They're easy to use. They respond well to the steering wheel controls. It's pretty basic and simple. I was impressed by it. It's very funny to think about the infotainment screens, because one of the automakers, like Toyota in particular, has redesigned its infotainment system and has like this massive, beautiful, really nicely responding screen, but has no apps, nothing to like actually there's
do
no features on
it. So you're just like, well, I guess I'll just use Android Auto.
Yeah, it's just like having a tablet, a dumb tablet. The only things you can really do on the Toyota screens are see like trip info.
Yeah, it's awful. It's so useless. It's so sad compared to other automakers. And I know, we don't really need to have like app stores and like features, but
I don't want app stores. I want menus to control the vehicle. I don't want to be squinting at a tiny screen. And like,
when in comparison, all of like to turn off safety gear, you have to do through the gauge cluster on a Toyota.
And Lexus it's the same with Lexus. It's not like they're saving money on Toyota so they can lavish it out on the luxury models. It's the same across the board. I do not get it. I did have an issue with the interior though, and that's underneath the screen. So my tester only had like 1,000 miles on it, 1,500 kilometers. Under the screen, there was already a piece of the leather missing. Like a circular,
do you mean by missing?
Like a circular chunk had been taken off. So it's where you rest your hand, someone had rubbed away a piece of leather. And to see that so quickly in a vehicle's lifespan, that's a little worrisome. And the trend continued at the back of the vehicle. It had a cargo cover that I found overly complicated. It had like stuff. You can slide it on the back. You can slide it at the front. It's a little weird in terms of how it works, but that wasn't my problem with it. My problem was sliding it in and out. It was already completely scuffed all around where you would remove it. And again, like
on the hard plastic area.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
not confidence inspiring. So the car has this really nice interior, but what's it going to look like in year 2?
Yeah.
Especially if you have kids in it, for example.
Yeah, you already mentioned that the cabin is such a highlight and something that stood out to you. But
yeah,
that's a great point. What's it gonna look like in year 2 if it's not even making it to month 1? Like, that's tough.
So
okay.
That pretty much covers the differences for the vehicle.
Okay.
They say that the steering and the suspension have been tweaked. I can't really validate that because I don't remember the last time I drove a PHEV Outlander. In terms of what I liked, I mean, the power was good. I never really felt like the vehicle was slow. It weighs almost 5,000 pounds, but it's still decently quick.
Okay.
There are many drive modes. There's 2 that seem to be performance oriented. One's called Power and one's called Tarmac. And Tarmac, they have like a little screen, not a screen. In the owner's manual, they have this like bar graph that tells you all the things that each of the drive modes is changing. And the difference between battery, performance or power and Tarmac is that Tarmac does some suspension stuff or some steering stuff, ? Whereas performance or power, I can't remember. I'm just going to say whatever I want now. It gives you the most power from the battery. In actual practice, neither of them felt any different from normal.
Yeah.
I think if you're traveling at a highway speed and you're in power mode, the acceleration at highway speeds feels a bit stronger. That's it. Off the line,
not obvious, right?
No, at no point does this vehicle push you back in your seat. And off the line, there's no difference at all. I was very surprised by that. It had a gravel mode that's supposed to be for loose surfaces, which I have many of around my house. I drove around with it. It was fine. I didn't really felt like I needed it. I mean, it has all-wheel drive anyway. The vehicle is not designed for hardcore off-roading. It's got, I believe it has a mud mode or a snow mode as well. But it did all the standard SUV stuff. I was impressed by how quiet it was. Really, really quiet, really comfortable, really smooth. Just a good experience overall. Good room in the second row as well. Pretty spacious. And it's easy to get to the third row. You can either drop the second row seats from the back of the vehicle, like let's say you're loading in cargo, or you can grab a latch on the seat itself, on the shoulder of it, and pull it forward. Super simple. That's all I want. Now we're going to get to the thing about the vehicle that doesn't work at all. And this is what Sami was super excited to talk about. The third row is useless. Yeah.
It basically has no leg. I was thinking about this the other day. It has basically no leg room, right?
None. I think that there is a certain age window for children where they might be able to be inside of that third row.
When they have paper-sized legs.
It's tough to know. Also, but even shorter children, the angle of the leg is going to be a problem. It's just not. It's not well thought out.
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking that maybe, and that you might need to help me out with this. Maybe this might work for somebody with a pet, like a dog, and they could be in the third row.
I don't think so. Getting a pet
go for it.
Pets don't have arms. And that means they can't grab something and pull themselves into a third row.
No, you're going to have to put them in there. Yeah. And then you have to use the weird seatbelt thing for them.
You can't put them in there. It's not really going to work. Also, at that point, why not just put them in the cargo area? If that's what you're going to do.
Because they won't have a restraint, right?
There's no, but you would have a carrier that you could put in the cargo area is what I'm saying.
Okay.
The other thing is, I mean, you know how difficult it is to load a child in a seat in a vehicle when there's not a lot of room. Imagine a pet which doesn't understand, doesn't respond, is going crazy. Maybe it's not even your pet. Maybe you're borrowing a neighbor's pet, and it's a really weird situation.
So I'm always trying. It's so complicated. I can't stand how difficult dogs make it for you to just put them in the car.
The other thing about the third row is that so it folds up out of the floor, and I will give it credit. There's a 4-step process with numbers on each of the tassels that you pull.
4 steps.
It's super easy to figure out. And it's not very heavy until you try to close it. When you're closing it, you feel a bit of the weight when you're forcing it back down. But otherwise, it's pretty easy. Except for this one, the strangest aspect is it doesn't latch when you put it down. There's a Velcro strap, one Velcro strap that holds it down and prevents it from bouncing. And if you don't use that strap, it will bounce over bumps and kind of disturb the peace and quiet of the otherwise calm cabin. So you got to remember to do that step. It feels like the kind of thing that's going to wear out over time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want like a strap instead of a latch, but maybe that's the price to pay for keeping it easy to use.
That's so funny.
Cargo space is okay with the third row up, by the way. There's a big cavity where the third row sits. You can put a lot of stuff there. And if you fold the second row, it's pretty decent. I took a bunch of stuff to a local donation place and I didn't have any issues. Overall, I like the vehicle a lot. There are not many 3-row compact plugins out there, except for the Rogue, which is, again, that single model year thing, according to what I read. The Rogue does not have fast charging, but it is otherwise identical to the Mitsubishi. There are 2 other compact hybrids. There's that I can think of, that undercut the Outlander on price. That's the Tucson and the Sportage. So if you're looking for a better deal, you can go to them.
Yep.
But they're 2-row,
but
which
they just don't have that third row.
Yeah, I think that's an advantage. I don't think anyone needs this third row. I think Mitsubishi needs to cut it out, like Dave Coulier would say.
Wow.
I don't really think it's the flex they think it is. Even if you're only going to use it, like most people, once or twice a year, you're going to hate it. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to work. And you're going to be like, why did I do this?
Otherwise, having it strapped down with a Velcro.
Pricing wise, I want to say it can get expensive. It starts at just under 50 in Canada. The one I drove was like 61 or 62. Sorry. There's a black package. They call it the Noir in Canada, which is funny, even on the English website. And that's 63. In the States, it's a bit more affordable. But I did mention there are others that undercut it. It starts at 46 and goes up to 51. And mine was 56, including destination and options.
How do you feel about that? Because the average new car price in Canada is around $60,000, between $60,000 and $70,000. This is right in that area, and you're getting a car that is relatively high performance. I think relatively high performance. I'm going to say relatively high performance because other compact crossovers don't typically see near the 300 horsepower.
It doesn't feel like a performance vehicle, though. It just drives.
No, I'm not calling it like a performance vehicle. I will say like it has more power, right?
I think that it's largely offset by the weight of the battery, though.
But then you also have the added efficiency and convenience of
if you want to talk about it as a plug-in, then sure, it's quite good. The other thing about it that I think is maybe underrated is it's really hard to pull off near luxury in a compact vehicle. And I think the Outlander makes it happen. I think this feels like a class I think this vehicle feels like a class above when you're
not
ordering
with those
it in
quality concerns that you had.
Sure.
But mentioning the leather kind of like wearing and then scuff marks so easily on particularly hardware areas.
My only 2 complaints. Everything else about this vehicle feels luxurious. And I was super surprised by that because when you think Mitsubishi, your mind doesn't go in that direction.
No. It's interesting. I mean, me and you, I think every time we're confronted with a Mitsubishi, we're often wondering what the brand identity is, especially in this post-Nissan era. They have a couple of cars, and this is probably like I would call it their flagship model. They want people to come in here, drop the money on the Outlander PHEV.
It's also probably the only vehicle in their lineup right now that has any name recognition too, I would say.
Yeah, so I'm going to name a bunch of other cars that people probably won't recognize. They still have an Eclipse Cross, I believe it's called, which got a really significant redesign, but seems to be playing in an in-betweener spot that nobody really wanted to play in. It's like half a compact and half a subcompact, and not quite excelling in either of those things and being kind of expensive in certain trims. And then they have the Outlander Sport, or RVR in Canada, which is a subcompact that just seems to not have been updated in a really long time, especially when every other subcompact car in the segment has gotten like pretty significantly improved. So that makes it a really difficult thing to try to understand what is Mitsubishi gunning for here with its brand, identity, when they clearly have a great product on their hands with the Outlander. I'm going to say great. It's not it might not be class leading. It might not be, the best that you would pick in terms of the compact crossover segment, but it is a very unique 3-row plug-in hybrid compact crossover with an attractive interior, right?
And in some ways it feels one of one, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The only other car that I would say is close, cars that are close to what the Outlander is offering, but are bigger and more expensive, are still the Santa Fe. I don't even know if the Santa Fe comes with a plug-in. I don't think it does, but the Sorento does.
Yeah, the Sorento is like a weird outlier in this conversation, because it's like, do you spend? I believe they're not that different in price.
They're close. I think you can get an entry-level model. I think I think the Sorento tops out much higher than the Outlander tops out at.
And the other thing, yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
But there is overlap on the entry-level Sorento and like the mid-level Outlander.
The other thing about the Sorento that you have to consider is a usable third row, right? So are you attracted to the practicality of a vehicle, or are you attracted to the almost luxury at a non-luxury price aspects of it? And it's interesting, the vehicle we talked about last week, remember how jazzed I was about the Canyon AT4's interior and how that felt like almost, I didn't say class above at the time, but it did feel very special in a way I didn't expect it to. And it felt a cut above other mid-sized trucks. So it's interesting that it was essentially the same price point as this Outlander.
Oh yeah.
Like mine was 71,000, but the vehicle starts at 55, which is like right in the wheelhouse. It's actually less than the starting price for the vehicle that I drove without options. So anyway, I don't have too much more to say about it. I was pleasantly surprised by this vehicle. It is something I will recommend people check out if people ask me now about a compact plug-in. And I would not have, before driving it, it wouldn't have been on my list. Like it's on my radar, but it's not something that I really thought about in terms of like, this is a legitimate choice that I think people should be checking this vehicle out. And at this point, I'm like, yeah, definitely. If you want a finer experience inside your vehicle, I think this makes sense.
I wanted to mention another thing that Mitsubishi has recently announced. They're bringing in a car called the Eclipse Sportback, which is an electric vehicle. And it looks like a Leaf. Like, let's be clear, it just looks like a new Nissan Leaf. That's
so I didn't even realize that it looked like a Leaf until you pointed it out. I just glanced at it.
It looks like one. I think it 100% like shares the same specs. I'm gonna double check. Yeah.
I feel like when I see these new subcompact or whatever EVs announced, and there's like a homogeneity to the designs, where even if there is like a resemblance, I'm like, well, that's just what they look like these days. You know what I mean?
It's just so sad because Mitsubishi has a very strange history with EVs. The iMEV, which I think is one of the first EVs that hit the US market. If you remember, the iMEV was a really weird car.
It was essentially a golf cart. Let's not kid ourselves about what the iMEV was.
But they could have just made a new iMEV. Why did they make what is an Eclipse Sportback?
What is an Eclipse?
Why did we go with that name?
Look, I don't think it's a bad thing for them to have a Leaf-like vehicle.
But why do they keep calling everything an Eclipse?
Because we've established that they don't have anything else. Right?
It's the strangest thing. They have so much. Like, what are they? Why the Eclipse? It just blows my mind. They could have gone Lancer if they really wanted to. They have all. I don't think Lancer really cool
holds
names.
Any value with Americans. I just don't think
it's
like
an Eclipse does.
Yeah, the Eclipse was something fun, and it was around for a long time. Don't forget, like late '80s all the way to 2012 or something like that. The Lancer only arrived in the early 2000s, and it was available until I don't know, I guess recently, but it was a specialized performance model that I think only appealed to a certain number of people.
Well, yeah, nobody really wanted the regular Lancer. They just wanted the Evo, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the car that I've been driving this week. It's the Genesis Electrified GV70. I don't want to get too into the weeds with it because you drove it in the fall. And I think everything that I will say will probably mimic what you already said, which is to say, this is a very good EV. It is almost a one-to-one comparison to its gas-powered vehicle. It's really impressive that Genesis has been able to translate the car, no matter the powertrain, to one another. I will say that I think the cargo room is a little bit impacted, and the pricing is a little bit out there. And I don't love the braking feel of it. I couldn't quite get the regenerative. You know, they have all these cars have like regenerative braking like settings.
Yes.
This one has a bunch, and I couldn't quite get it to get what I needed it to be. It's constantly feeling on or off, like weird. And sometimes there were elements when I was like, why isn't it hitting regenerative braking right now? I was just uncomfortable with all of that. The one thing I wanted to talk to you about, two things. They have two identically sized knobs in the center console. One for controlling the infotainment screen and one for controlling the drivetrain. One is basically a gear selector. These things should be slightly different sized, in my opinion, and maybe even different shaped. Because you don't want to be trying to change your settings on your infotainment screen and then throwing it into reverse by accident. The other thing that keeps happening to me with this car, every time I walk up to it, it does this like acknowledgement that I'm coming up to it. And when I try to open the door, it then... So like, let me describe the acknowledgement. The lights kind of like do a little light show. The side view mirrors start to unfold. It looks like it's welcoming me.
This is a pretty common thing on modern cars, by the way.
Yes.
Just to interject, a lot of cars do this.
The moment I touch the door handle to open the door, and I'm telling you this has happened like 4 or 5 times.
You get an electric shock? Like a free slip?
No. It locks the car and undoes the light show. It turns it folds the mirrors back in. And it's like, no, not for you, sir. And wow. I'm sitting there trying to open the door. I try like 6 times, and then finally it opens the door. This is a convenience feature that a lot of other automakers have gotten right, but when it doesn't work, you look like a fool in front of your luxury car. Don't you agree? Have you ever had these kinds of moments?
No, I live in the middle of nowhere and no one sees me open doors. It's like, it's very freeing.
Even then, you probably feel silly, even if nobody's watching.
I have had many systems from many touch sensitive or keyless door opening systems not understand what I want them to do. It happens a lot. Cars lock when I want them to open, or they open when I want them to lock. This is I feel like we have yet to perfect this technology, and nothing suggests to me that we're moving in a direction where it's going to be perfected anytime soon. And it happens on like expensive vehicles and entry-level vehicles too. Like it doesn't seem to be, there's no discrimination, you know? So I it's frustrating and weird. And the other thing I don't like is like not knowing if it's going to unlock the back doors, and like if I touch the back door, what's going to happen. And like, you know, you get in and you're sitting there and your passenger's still standing outside on the other side waiting for you to unlock it. And you're like, well, I thought it was unlocked. And then you have an argument. Well, why didn't you open the car? And things like that. So
no, it is even funnier that way, is that some cars will only use the keyless entry on the driver's side door and your passenger. But if you try to, obviously if you try to open the car on the other side or another door, it unlocks all the doors. But if you open it just the driver door, it just only opens the driver door. And you look like this guy who's only interested in himself. Like, yeah, you guys, goodbye now. I'm in the car. I'm buckled in. I'm getting my seat position. I've turned it on. I'm listening to my tunes. Why isn't anyone else in the car? Oh, I have to unlock all the doors now.
I just realized that I'm not the main character on Earth, so no one's paying attention to what I do. It's not the Truman Show here.
There are other things that I find, not with this car, but other cars have all sorts of, like, they think they're being clever, but are really inconvenient. If you have a key in your pocket and you walk by the trunk of your Hyundai and you have this smart trunk access, it'll start beeping at you, and then it'll eventually open the trunk of the car or hatch of the car. You have to like then walk away from your car and make sure that it doesn't do that. It is the strangest smart feature. My Subaru has started doing this, because if you hold your hand to the emblem on the trunk, it will then open the trunk. But if you just stand there, and I can't remember what I was doing. I think I had put my stroller down there, like behind my car, and I was just like trying to figure out where to put it after taking it out of the car, or whether or not I was going to put it in the car or pick another stroller. And I was just standing there, and then suddenly it's like beep beep beep, and then it opens the trunk, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to get. And I was in my garage. I was terrified I was going to get decapitated by my.
One time I was installing a trailer hitch on a Tacoma, and I was kneeling down behind it, and the key was in my pocket, and my jeans, not jeans, I don't wear jeans. My pants were so tight that they flexed on the button to pop the tailgate, and it hit me on the head.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is that one of your many concussions?
No.
Technology, man. Sometimes it doesn't go right. There's still so many. How are they going to perfect this? They're going to put cameras on cars and use.
More cameras is definitely the solution. I feel like as cars have added cameras, things have only gotten better, and not like more complex or like significantly irritating.
It's more expensive to repair.
Yeah. Can't wait for a camera on my key fob that like notices it's approaching the car and does the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You can like scan through my pocket with like a low level of non-ionizing radiation. Whatever it takes.
I noticed that you came out of the grocery store with less money than you did. So now it knows your shopping habits, of course.
I noticed that it came out of the grocery store and the non-ionizing radiation had scrambled the eggs in my bag.
I just can't stand it when we have features that are inconsistent around. I mean, I know every automaker has a different approach to these things, but something as simple as keyless entry, which I think has been going on for probably more than a decade.
Keyless entry has been going on since the 90s.
Yeah, for 2 decades. It's like, when are we going to get this like perfect? And what is stopping it from doing that? What is going on with my Genesis that is not letting me into the car every time I try to open it?
A lot of the problems we have with cars is that the automotive industry is a mature industry. And what that means is we are not really innovating anymore. Mm-hmm. Products have already gotten as good as they can get. Yes, we're able to make gas engines a little bit more efficient incrementally as we move forward. Yes, we're able to work on battery technologies to improve EVs. But what I don't mean the technology behind cars is mature. I mean the industry itself. Like, cars are supposed to do a certain thing, get you from A to B comfortably and safely. We have got that under control. As of, I want to say,
we've got that under control.
No,
yeah, there's no car out there that is on sale that does it, either fails at the task of getting you from A to B or does so uncomfortably.
Now,
on purpose.
It sounds like I'm being obtuse about this, but what happens when an industry is mature is that the changes and updates and features that you start to get as a consumer are no longer related to functionality. They are things that are intended to entice you to buy a particular product. So that's why there's a dozen different solutions to keyless entry, a dozen different infotainment setups, different drivetrains and whatnot that are designed to, excite you, be an enthusiast or do whatever. And once you introduce those complications, things can start to get weird and things can start to break down because you're straying from the mission statement. It's like cell phones. Sami and I have had this conversation quite a bit. Yeah. I don't think mobile phones have improved meaningfully in maybe 8-9 years. Like battery life is not any better, really.
In fact, it seems to be getting worse more often.
Screen size, I mean, the only thing you can do now is make your phone a tablet. Like, there's not really, you can't get much bigger. Charging is very, very fast, like ridiculously fast if you have a brand that does that. And what else do you need? Like, cameras, I guess, have gotten better, but like, it's really diminishing returns at a certain point in terms of how much glass you can force into a lens. I would say that for the vast majority of people, phones do exactly what they need to do. And then we get into like weird bespoke operating systems, strange features on a phone that are just there to be different. We're kind of moving past the phase where people, like, I remember getting phones that you could add a projector to them. You could add a Hasselblad camera. You could all sorts of stuff like that. We're kind of moving away from the accessorization of phones, but these are the kinds of things an industry does when they can't improve the main product anymore. Like, it does what it needs to do. It goes on the internet. The screen is decent. Battery life is decent. And the performance is fast enough for whatever. So, Sammy, I know you probably have something to add about phones.
Sure. I've been actually, and I think you and I have actually toyed with this together, going on the dumb phone kind of like kick or something a little less invasive.
Yeah, staying away from flagships.
Yeah, and the one, and I've the main issue I have is I really really like Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. I think it's a really useful system. It's great to have a unified interface with actual functional apps for when you're driving your car. But so when I don't want to be distracted in my everyday life and have overwhelming features on my device, I don't want that. But in my car, I want certain apps and features there. So what I've always considered is putting I've got like an Android device, just leaving it in my car and then having a like basically a candy bar style phone with like hotspot, like a 4G hotspot, and supplying that thing with internet every time I got, like, it's this weird ad hoc solution.
Yeah, then it's not really a solution because you start to overcomplicate a different way, because now you have to keep two devices charged, and you have like your primary device is going to run out of power sooner because it's now broadcasting radio all the time. It's like, I've thought about these things as well, and you end up like building an ecosystem for yourself that feels overly complicated, all because you want to satisfy the ability to disconnect from the distracting aspects of your device. But I guess more what I was saying is, in terms of it being a mature thing, is I had a OnePlus 7, which is, I think, maybe the best phone I've ever had. It did everything I needed it to do well. Eventually, I ran out of Android updates for it. The manufacturer was no longer supporting it. So I got a new phone, a OnePlus 12, which is like 5 generations later, and it does nothing better than what my phone did before. It cost the same amount. I think it was like $1,000, which is a lot to pay for a phone. But I try to future-proof my phones because I keep them for 3 to 4 years minimum.
And we use them for work too, right?
Yeah, like, I use the cameras for photos a lot that end up being published because the cameras are quite good, and other apps and whatnot for vehicles. But like, there's nothing about the phone that I have now that makes me feel good about having made that purchase.
Right.
There's the experience itself is not upgraded, and in some ways it's a step back. And now I'm looking at, I'm loath to do future updates on the phone because everyone who has done these updates are seeing problems with battery life and third-party launchers and all this stuff. Like, because again, phone companies have a vested interest in you buying a new phone. So if your old phone suddenly starts to have not great battery life because of an update they did, that pushes you into buying a new phone. I mean, it sounds conspiratorial, but it's been proven in some cases with some manufacturers that do this. So you're kind of trapped in this world where like now, like, I don't think I'll ever buy another quote unquote flagship or class leading phone because I don't think I need that functionality anymore. I think that mid-range phones are as good as anything most people would ever need.
I actually think my best phone was a mid-range Motorola that I owned because its processor was like not super powerful, and as a result, the battery didn't ask for so much battery, and that this phone lasted forever. It was one of my favorite phones that I've ever owned, and it was one of the few ones that I've ever got that was not a flagship. And I think that's just such a great balance. Because what good is a flagship phone if the battery is dead or if you're searching for a plug? And I thought the reality is you just need to have the phone living like with battery life, right?
And like bringing this all back to cars, because it isn't the unnamed phone podcast, at least not yet. Mm-hmm. I find that this is part of what's drawing me to like mid 2000s, early 2000s vehicles, because the driving experience has been largely taken care of. You know, like there's nothing about those vehicles from that period when I drive them that makes me think, oh man, I wish this was better from a driving perspective. I feel like sure they could be more efficient, and maybe they could be safer objectively, but like in terms of utility, in terms of the experience behind the wheel, in terms of the size inside, you know, practicality, I find that those vehicles tick all of those bases for me and for what I need.
Yeah.
And like since 2010, we've been complicating vehicles largely through technology, obviously, because
Okay.
cars are themselves technology. But like, connectivity and advanced safety systems, I think are and crazy amounts of power. I think are the three biggest differences between the 2000s and now. And
Yeah.
I'm not even bringing EVs into it. I feel like this is a separate category. But like, yeah, it's just odd to see companies flail around to try to get people behind the wheel.
Yeah, so like the question then is maybe we'll send this out to the listeners first and then we'll come back with our own answers. But what has been the most impressive leap forward technology wise that we have seen in the past few years? I will say personally, I think it's Super Cruise or any hands-free driving technology. I know we don't technically need these features, but when they work and they work well, it's like magic. It's so cool. And I will say that's one feature that really impresses me. On the opposite end, when you start getting all those, like when you have the features that enable hands-free driving, but do not enable hands-free driving,
like vehicle, driver attention systems.
No, not just driver attention, but facial, like eye monitoring systems.
Yeah, so I loop that all under that. Yeah, to me that's grouped under the same thing.
It's like this is the key step that will enable hands-free driving. But if you don't have hands-free driving, it's just a nuisance, right? It's just it's even annoying.
It's a nuisance even with hands-free driving. And it becomes a nuisance because of all the other technologies that are demanding our attention. So if you have a system that requires you to look forward at all times and not be distracted, don't put an 11-inch infotainment screen right outside the line of sight that I have to look at to do things in the car and then scold me for looking at it. That happens constantly in new cars.
to change my radio stations.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah. It's insane, right? It's absolutely cruel. Or change the navigation where I want to go, for example.
Or climate controls.
Yeah.
If you have on-screen climate controls, you better not. You also better not be looking at an address on the side of the road. I mean, come on.
So, that's one thing that I find absolutely. It's like it's so close you made it worse, right? Like you were so close.
It's like you have this. There's this mecca, but to get to this mecca of like Super Cruise, you have to pass through this like gauntlet of torture. And it's always there, but you can see Mecca. You can see it.
Yeah. An oasis, of course. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for this week's episode of the Unnamed Automotive Podcast. I really encourage you to head on over to our website, unnamedautomotivepodcast.com. You can see all of our previous episodes. You can subscribe to our podcast through there. But most important, you can send us a message. There's a contact form. You fill it out. That comment or feedback lands in our inbox. We really love hearing from you, and I would love to hear your thoughts about useful and useless technologies that have progressed in modern cars, and we'll talk about it, of course. In addition to that, you can send us an email. It's benjamin@benjaminhunting.com, or you can reach out to us on Instagram. I'm at Sami_ha, like you're laughing. And Ben, when he's on there, occasionally, he's at Hunting Benjamin.
Yeah, go on Blue Sky instead of Instagram. That's where I am.
Okay, go on Blue Sky. What are you? You're Hunting Benjamin there?
Yeah, it's always the same.
I'm Sami-ha, like you're laughing. We're talking about cars next week, right, Ben?
Yeah, I'm talking about the 2026 Honda Accord Hybrid.
You told me something about the Honda Accord Hybrid.
I'm saving it for next week.
No, that it keeps.
No, I'm saving it. I'm saving it for next week. We're not going to talk about it.
Okay, fine.
We're almost at an hour here. We're not going to.
I am driving a Kia Sorento plug-in hybrid.
Oh, that's why you brought up the Sorento today.
Sportage, actually.
You don't even know.
I keep getting them mixed up. I'm sorry.
Are they all?
I am actually comparing it to a Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV for driving.ca. So
when are you driving the PHEV?
Next week.
So we'll be able to get your impressions on that as well.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Sami's impressions.
Do they?
Except for his Mark Carney impression, which I've heard lacks soul. Who's Mark Carney? And on that, we're finishing the podcast. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.